And welcome back, everybody, to Breakout Series event number 3. We have one of our finalists for tomorrow decided. It's time to decide the other. I'm EGP Wonder Chef, joined by James Jamerson Lee. And now we've got a match between two teams who've not played in the same tournament together. There's going to be Tekka Dynasty and Last Second.
Yeah, and this is going to be really great to see, especially because it's been mostly the mathy show so far. And we've got a really good, nice tasting of what the meta could possibly be. Other teams have, of course, tried out that Hyperion Gundam, but it does seem like it might be here to stay.
The Hyperion Gundam and the gym being added to the mix again. I'm just so excited for what this current meta holds. But I'm really excited to talk about these two teams because this is a really cool storyline. Now, Last Second was a team that formed out of a few members that were kind of, I would say, like refugees from Tekka Dynasty in the last tournament, because Tekka Dynasty wasn't playing in the last tournament. We do know they were second place before that, so they're a strong team. But Last Second has shifted pretty much completely since then, and I read this off earlier, but I just got to look at their roster again because it includes, let's start from the bottom, Mr. Big Large, the incredible Ashimar, Fusion Blackie, who's played a bunch of different suits, made that amazing turn A play, to Zim, who is one of my favorite Pale Rider players to watch, but we haven't seen Zim for a few weeks. Exponent's there. I'm not going to stop describing them all. Be There, Shield, Evictus, Blue Jay, and Gasman. That is just an absolute, the highest caliber level of players that could easily match up against Mafty. So they've never played together as this team. I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah, but we know how well, teams can instantly shift, right, for their rosters, but also being able to play together. It's about already understanding the fundamentals of the game, and all those players, we know they have that in spades, and now it just comes down to really kind of testing their mettle up against the rest of the squad. So this is going to be an exciting match regardless.
Completely agreed, because also on the other side, of course, we saw Tekka Dynasty take second place 2 events ago, but now they still have their same core. It's in Dark Infestor, Azor, Robot, Hawklight, I think, and they've added some great players like Red Protocol, Nostalgia, Chaotic. I'm really excited to see how they play with some of those all-star players as well. But let's see what these map picks and bans are going to be, because with all these roster shifts, it's going to be a lot about what kind of size map they can play on, especially with Chaotic being on the side of Tekka Dynasty now. And we're going to see Quarry banned right off the bat.
Yeah, wait, it says Lunar Colony there. It's actually going to be Lunar Colony Trading Post.
Okay.
Excuse me, not Lunar. Colony Trading Post being the first one banned down. So kind of surprising. Thermal Plant as well. So 2 destruction maps already out.
Or it's actually Corey. Okay. The pictures are correct. The titles are wrong. So we're going to see two destruction maps out of the field, and we're going to start off on Flak Fort. I'm very excited to see Flak Fort once again. That is going to be picked by Tekka Dynasty, and then another map that we haven't seen today, Harbor City, is going to be picked up from Last Second. So we're going to see some new stuff for sure.
Yeah, and now we're getting our domination maps banned out, so Thermal Station will go down. We'll see if maybe that continues to run the same kind of trend where it's just the exact same map types, and it does seem like Underground Command Center will be the next one to fall, so all the destruction maps actually banned out.
Yeah, and we are going to have Mount R&D Lab as a decider once again. We're seeing a lot of, I think actually Mount R&D Lab has been in the technically the pick pool every single one of these sets so far, although we've only seen it actually get to it a single time. So clearly a map that everybody's really starting to like. However, I have to say, I feel like the ranges on these maps are very different overall, right? We've got Flak Fort, it's really a mid-range map, and then we're going to go to Harbor City, which can be a very long-range map, and then we're going to go to Mountain R&D, which can be a close-range map. However, every single one of them has their mid-range kind of like spots in each one, so I do think that's kind of what they're going for.
Yeah, that's kind of why, you want to run that Pale Rider, and we do have some great Pale Rider players on either side. Really looking forward to Zim. That's really where we were introduced to him. His Pale Rider play from multiple events ago was absolutely stellar, really skyrocketing, on the damage charts. And you have to imagine with how we do have a lot of kind of tankier and off-tank picks coming in for this meta, it's going to create a lot more space for him, a lot more front line for him to really play around.
Or just the fact that maybe if you can unload on shields, they will just melt that much faster when you've got the damage like that. But we'll see what the picks are. We're going to go to a short break as we set up this match. There's going to be just a few minutes until we begin. Don't go anywhere. We're going to go to our second winners semifinals match of the day right after this. And map number 1 of Tekka Dynasty versus Last Second will be Flak Fort, the first time that we've seen it today. But the question is, once again, 2 new teams we haven't seen on broadcast. What are the comps going to be? I'm already seeing one Hyperion.
Yeah, that's going to be Dark Investor picking it up for Tekka Dynasty. On the other side, though, be their shield on the defense. So he's really not going to have an opportunity to swap off here. It looks like he will be sticking with a Sazabi. So old shield versus new shield. We'll see which one ends up coming out on top. Actually, Asor is still running or hovering over that Sazabi. So double tank front line for Tekka Dynasty. Ooh. We'll see how that works out.
Very, very interesting. Now, we do know the Dark Infestor was the Pale Rider player for Tekka Dynasty, basically since event number 1 has been really kind of the core Pale Rider player. It's really interesting now. We've seen Enders and Dark Infestor both switching from the Pale Rider over to that Hyperion. On the other side, though, we are going to see Zim on the RX-78. That is a really interesting change. Like I said, one of the best trackers that I've ever seen in any game. Really impressive. But look at the gun tank woos. Love the gun tank woos. But let's see how this goes with the RX-78. That's sick.
Yeah, I mean, with the Sazabi on the other side, you know, it will be a nice little bit counter to try and deal with the shield, but they will have the secondary shield to pop up as soon as he gets CC'd. So I don't know how potent that RX-78 2 will work into this double shield right now. Dark Infestor Gonna try and push up. He makes the cross by himself, and he has to be careful. You can see Be Their Shield popping on over to create some space for Tism, and it will work out as Blue Jay from behind is able to just get that splash damage. There's a second knock, and so now 2 members already going it down. They get the res as well. Second doing a pretty decent job so far on this defense. They will charge forward to get more staggers.
Oh, Robot going down, Hawklight going down as well. This is going to be a pretty strong hold here, at least for this first push. It's interesting to see the Methis. We haven't seen a Methis yet today. A Robot, of course, playing multiple different supports on that team. So the Methis is a go-to, just I think, for the mobility initially. But here we go, the push behind the shield, the double shield push, and the sword is going to immediately take the high ground as we see Tizim get flanked. This could work out.
Yeah, that was a nice flank from Red Protocol, and you know, we don't get to see that typically as often because in the past, of course, we've had a large amount of Exia play, and they're the typical flankers, and so now it's going to be Red Protocol, the Ashmar, going back to basically launch of Gundam Evolution, how you basically played him on this map. Now, with 3 ticks, it looks like they will be able to secure the 4th, not just in time, but there it is, a charge forward to finish them all off. Tekka Dynasty, with plenty of time in the tank, we'll go ahead and move on to the second half of the map. Push forward, 4-point B. Last second, though, they need to regroup.
That was a very strong first push. I mean, well, okay, it was the second push that made it. I guess I should say the very strong take on the first point. But now this is, again, one of those spots that we tend to see a lot of the teams get choke pointed on, and they can't sneak past. However, the increased damage now from the buffed Flame Grenade, that is going to melt so much. And even bigger, maybe, it's going to build so much more G maneuver meter.
Yeah, and you have to remember that they only have the single heals, right? Or the single target heal with that Methis. So when you do get that large AoE damage down, it's hard to fight back. Now, Nostalgia, though, does find one. A good peel back from last second there to try and buy some time. Tizim will go ahead and back away on that RX-78 last second, finding some crucial picks to slow down the momentum of Tekka Dynasty.
Sor is going to have to lead this charge right here. Oh, it's going to be the Sazabi versus Sazabi. Of course, we've seen a lot less Sazabi, like I mentioned earlier, but it's going to really come down to both of them. And I'm surprised that we're seeing this angle where the Sazabi's not the one who's peeking, not the one who's going to be holding back, but they do have that double tank. So we are, of course, going to see at least one of them being holding that spot. Oh, but the big punch from the sky. Mr. Big Large got the damage buff and then went for the aerial punch. That could have been a ton of damage, but it looks like it didn't quite connect. And that's going to be 2 G maneuvers down, 2 important G maneuvers down now on the side of this defense.
Yeah, I mean, typically it's going to be the turn A Gundam that uses the G maneuver from there, but we've got Screaming Nimbuses from either side. It's going to be last second that get the value off of that one. 3 members of Tekka Dynasty going down. That's a stagger onto a robot as well. We'll see if last second can pick up a few more, but they did end up utilizing a lot there. The energy cable out from Invictus, and we, of course, did see that punch beforehand. We'll go ahead and back away for now. They do have, of course, the Sazabi funnels to utilize next for this hold and try and buy some time for Fusion Blackie to be able to get that Moonlight Butterfly.
Can we talk about this visual bug that we're seeing right here? There was the Zero Gun Gundam that was pretty funny. You see the charm flying around. But here we go. Be Their Shield activating the funnels, and oh no, there was nothing from the Lancer that really needed to be used effectively. But the Butterfly is going to take down at least 3. Then the Pig is going to get off on a Soar. A robot probably going down as well. No even health pack. That is going to be a full push back to spawn. Can't stop that Butterfly unless you're totally ready for it.
Yeah, that's the last 2 G maneuvers that they had. Mr. Big Large is doing a good job of trying to buy time and build up that punch. We did see it whiff on the last one. If he plays more around the corners here, it would be better instead of trying to go for that aerial one, trying to get the highlight reel. But on the other side, for Tekka Dynasty, they've got 3 G maneuvers themselves. The Butterfly is there, and they will go ahead and charge forward, but a huge stun! It's the axe, I think, that came in to take him out mid-air. Despite that, though, the space was but. A robot finds a few knocks himself. Hawklight will go ahead and charge forward, but as Tizim backs away, they find a few picks. So, Tekka Dynasty can't push onto the point with full force.
Oh my gosh, that happened so fast. I almost think maybe that was a punch. Maybe it was an Ashmore punch. I could be totally wrong on that, but I feel like there was the possibility that's what that was. But regardless, here there we go. They're on point. This is the first they push so far. Fusion Blackie is just trying to heal back a little bit of life. No cooldown on the nanobots. but this is a great counter push. We're going to see kind of a split here, unfortunately, on the side of Tekka Dynasty. Half their team is still in that first choke point, half their team's already pushed up to the high ground, and they need to be able to regroup here. Otherwise, they're just going to be fighting two losing matchups. Okay, they did manage to back up. They did manage to regroup. This is good. Here's the Screaming Nimbus.
Screaming Nimbus, but right now, Tekka Dynasty are completely split up. Hawklight is here by himself. As Sora does end up finding one. There's a second, but they end up losing out on the Dom, so they will not have that armor gun to try and maintain position here. They're already getting contested before they even secure that first tick. They do back him away, but again, the contest is there just in time. Finally, Tekka Dynasty end up securing that one. That might be all that they get until Nostalgia ends up finding some crucial picks. Now they're still getting contested, and there is a Sazabi in the face of Red Protocol. He will end up getting cleaned out as Hawklight shows up to try his best to keep this alive, but it's extra time ticking away. They need to get members onto the point, but as they stagger on, it's going to be an easy cleanup as Tekka Dynasty only end up securing that one tick on the second point.
Their first, the take of the first point was very strong. It was very quick. You know, it only took them maybe 2 pushes, which is a lot better than we've seen from a lot of other teams. But they just were never able to find that much mileage onto the second point. It might have something to do with the team comp. I'm not 100% sure. At least the fact that they got 1 tick is pretty huge. That means that if they can just stop them from getting onto that second point, really, which is totally doable, they will be winning that. However, I don't know what they needed to do. I mean, a lot of it, I guess, was the great defensive G maneuver management, right? They always seem to have one when they needed it, especially with just how fast, especially now Ashmar is building that G maneuver.
Yeah, we did see some great punches, but more importantly, some great shutdowns of G maneuvers. It's not just about, of course, utilizing your G maneuvers, but being able to play around them well. I mean, we've seen in the past a few times, turn A's getting shut down mid-air, like you mentioned. Ashmar punch in the past. I don't exactly know if it was the axe coming out from the Sazabi. I mean, there are multiple ways to try and deal with the CC, even if you're midair, still can handle it. And it was just great team play. So right now, it is going to be swapping sides. Last second will be on the offense. They just need a little over 1 tick to try and get the victory here in the first map.
1 tick can be tough, for sure. Love the gun tank woos, but a lot of it is going to come down to how fast, of course, they take this first point. We've seen a lot of make or break moments trying to take this first point on both sides. And I expect, as usual, no real challenge as they're going to be pushing across the bridge. They're actually not going to be taking the low ground here. They're just going for the immediate blitz. But who's going to get the first pick?
Yeah, I mean, you said it yourself, right? It's all about timing, and we know that most teams do not play out here on the bridge. This is not like regular matchmaking. You need to play a little bit more conservative. You need to play around the point instead. Here's Mr. Big Large, though, going in for the flank. He does toss down the AoE. Doesn't really get much out of it, but he does draw attention of 2 members, allowing for last second to try and push out. But throughout all that, Hawklight ends up finding the first pick. Tism really playing a front line on that RX-78 does end up getting punished.
Oh, this is a really scary angle to push, honestly. That little particular angle through the door, we've seen so many suits go down just even trying to cross. And it looks like Fusion Blackie, whoa, is almost one of them. Managed to survive about 1 HP 2 times in a row. So that might be to their advantage, but Mr. Big Large went down as well. So they are fighting a 5v5 here. Hawklight getting picked back up. It's looking a little bit more difficult on the offense. They might need to back up. Oh, especially now.
Yeah, the stun coming in onto Tism, and that's an immediate cleanup here. Last second, really struggling here on the first points. We'll see if they can try and maybe find that first pick, but Tekka Dynasty are doing a great job of just kind of bending. Now they do end up losing out on Dark Infestor, and so Azor is going to have a difficult job as that solo tank on that front line, or maybe that just means a robot can just solo heal him. Blue Jay drops down, and that allows Hawklight to get some easy shots and finish him off. Mr. Big Large, though, with that fire, is able to take out that last tank. Red Protocol answering in kind. So Zabi's just not able to move in time out of that. But that does mean last second now do have the advantage. They will try and push up. The first tick coming on in. A robot tries to go for a miracle repair. Has to get repaired himself. Red Protocol picking him up.
Oh, this is such a weird little fight. This is like a 4v4 in here. They just haven't had a full team for a while, but there's going to be at least 2 ticks on board. It looks like we might see the team of Last Second start, or I'm sorry, the team of Tekka Dynasty start to back up here and just give up the point. Yeah, they do not want to give up that choke point. They said, you know what? We've only got 2 or 3 of us left. It's time for us to back. And smart choice, honestly. They've already delayed them a lot more than they were delayed taking that first point. So if they can play that same way here, they will prevent them from getting that first tick, which is all that they need to do.
All right, we'll see if Mr. Big Large can find that Ashmar angle. Tism, though, will go ahead and throw in that super napalm, but the instant response, never mind, Dark Infestor didn't get the memo, ends up going down to it. That's the mana advantage, and now Last Second will go ahead and try and charge forward. They're clearing out their angles. Once again, Tism incredibly aggressive on his own, charging forward with that RX-78. I get it, you have a shield, you still have to be careful. Mr. Big Large, though, finds one more kill. He's at 72%. Fusion Blackie almost has that Moonlight Butterfly as well, and that could be crucial in their take for this. They're still approaching this one a little bit slow, and it's going to be Nostalgia popping the Butterfly first, as Fusion Blackie will end up going down, and that's going to be a defensive hold coming out from Tekka Dynasty.
Oh yeah, 3 kills alone from that combo of the butterfly and the power cable, which somebody called in chat last time, called that the Airbnb, and I thought that was the funniest name for it. So I'm a big fan of it. But those 2 G maneuvers combo together are just so much damage. It's basically like if you don't have a really true ready answer, it is guaranteed at least going to be a reset.
Yeah, Fusion Blackie, though, does have one of his own. Doesn't have the energy cable. Evictus is at 56%. He's got to be careful. Red Protocol is going to be patrolling the skies with that Ashmar to try and shut him down. And now we've got the Moonlit Butterfly going in, and he has been stunned once again. And man, these teams are so good at responding to it at this point. Hawkley does have to back away as Mr. Big Large ends up finding 1 kill. And now he's getting chased down. He does have a lot of health packs to play around. Despite all of that, Last Second are still trying to find, struggling a little bit here, as they have not been able to find the crucial picks, and now the trades are coming in for Tekka Dynasty.
That was a decent Lancer from Dark Infestor, but just wasn't able to confirm a lot of those kills, just got the downs and then was taken out himself. So that is a little bit of a delay, but there wasn't a full push, I guess, to kind of take advantage of the fact that was just a trade. Zim, though, is going to hold a really good angle on the outside here. Sor, again, this is such a different game when we see so many shields and so many Sazabis from the last game.
We do have the funnel coming out from Masor here as he's trying to hold out with a minute left remaining. The defense, that's a great time to actually pop that one. Try and buy some space and time for the rest of the team to pick up the G maneuvers, but they end up taking a lot of damage on the retreat here, and now they're getting burned down, cut off just a little bit. The Last Second are trying to go for a full regroup. They do have that super napalm along with that energy cable, but it's not quite the potent combo that you're looking for to try and finish things off. Super napalm going down, but it's cleared out. It's going to be Red Protocol being able to respond to that one, and now Last Second basically running out of tools here. We'll see, though. Mr. Big Large does have that Ashmar punch, but it looks like Tekka Dynasty feel like they know. They, as Mr. Big Large goes in from behind, ends up picking off 1 with that punch, but it's an immediate res. A sword does end up going down, so Last Second do have the man advantage, but they still have to play around the objective here. No one is there. 13 seconds remaining. Trades going down. Last Second, this might be their last opportunity.
Oh, they're building just a little bit, but it's not quite enough. Red Protocol is going to use that solo punch just to make sure that nobody is going to stay on point. Be their shield is technically repairable, but oh no, this is a great push in, and all they need is just a few more seconds. It looked like there wasn't a chance, but true to their name, Last Second, with the literal Last Second take that looked like they were completely being held off, but all it takes is just one time, one good push, and that's what it was.
Last second or last millisecond there. It was so scary for them. But, I mean, right there, utilizing the high ground angle, especially for Amethyst, is one of the best angles to play. You got to see it there. Not only did they have, of course, their units on the ground, Mr. Big Large was the one contesting to keep that point alive, but once the Amethyst gets up there, you have to realize that even though it's a support unit, it dishes out so much damage.
It's true. It can, especially if you can chunk a lot of people with the charged laser, the F. It is just an incredible amount of damage. I gotta say though, I gotta talk about this. We saw from both sides the butterfly G maneuver started from the Turn A Gundams, and then both sides countered with an air-to-air Ashimar punch. So both Red Protocol and Mr. Big Large both were ready at the exact same spot right at the start of that G maneuver pop to counter it perfectly, stun them out of the air. It was incredible. And we saw actually in the last tournament, I think it was, I can't remember, it was Chaotic or Gasman. We see them both so much, that was using the Barbados G maneuver to in the air to cancel that out and counter it out of the air. So we're now starting to see these amazing counters for it. And I mean, the fact that both teams did it at basically the exact same place in the exact same way is sick.
Yeah, incredibly potent, being able to respond to that. I mean, having that tool in your, that response in your back pocket, really being able to showcase your skill and be like, yeah, I got this. This is no longer the butterfly map. This is typically, where you see a lot of highlight reels when it comes to that turn A play, but now it's getting shut down time and again.
Well, I think we might get a chance to see some more highlight plays. We'll see if we can have a counter every single time, or if we'll see some full team wipes. We're going to go to a map that we see quite a bit of that on. But we're going to go to a short break as we get the players set up. But we're going to go right back into map number 2 right after this. Map 1 of Tekka Dynasty versus Last Second did not disappoint, and I guarantee that map number 2 here on Harbor City will not as well, as we are going to be up 1 game on the side of Last Second, literally pulling it back in the last second, or even less than that in the overtime. But now it's time to see who's got the sniping skills.
Yeah, and it seems like Last Second might not want to snipe at all. There we go. Once again, they will go ahead and pick that one up. So yeah, Tazim was hovering over that Pale Rider, but they kind of need to answer at long range. Even though you got the quasi sniper in the turn A, you might need to deal a little bit more damage, have that instant pick potential onto, well, 5-6, excuse me, of the other side.
We've seen so many turn A's do so well here. I'm really interested to see the combo of that along with the Hyperion, though, which is something that, of course, we haven't seen had a chance to see. We've seen the great usage of the new Gundam G maneuver to push through the choke point. Not here, of course, once we get to the second point, which I feel is a little bit inevitable. But now that we're seeing Dark Infestor really stick with this Hyperion, I'm excited to see how the shield can help with that push, especially if you've got the turn A behind it. Oh, 6 gun tank woos. That's a big advantage going into this, but here we go.
All right, now we're going to see the sniper battles. We do have a cheeky turret set up in the back, and Invictus actually didn't buy that much in terms of G maneuver buildup. Fusion Blackie already getting some damage off. You can see the double shields being utilized here is going to create a lot of space for Red Protocol, but he's still getting body shot from behind, or excuse me, through it all. So he does have to be careful here as he eats a direct rocket as well. Last Second, of course, doing a great job. Like the typical spot you will here on that initial corner as they are playing super far back. Red Protocol needs some heals. A robot needs to help him out. There we go. He finds the shot onto Tazim. We'll see if they can get the res onto him, but it doesn't seem like anyone is there in response. Mr. Big Large, though, finds a nice little off angle. Double repair coming out to get him back on in. A sword pushing forward to buy some space as Tekka Dynasty now does need to be careful.
Oh, that pick was so good, but again, another pick, 2 more picks, 3 more picks. Red Protocol on the Jin Sniper, just taking out the entire team in the background. What an MVP play. Of course, almost went down, but again, got picked back up. Like you said, you can tell how much they value Red Protocol on this map, that 2 people were repairing at the exact same time. And you know what? They were right to do so, as that was a total of 4 picks in the first push from Red Protocol.
Yeah, even though those buildings are great to play around, you have to be careful on the retreat, because all you reveal as you're backing away is basically the head. And you know what? That's what Jim Sniper loves to shoot. Now, though, they are set up to try and play around this choke. You can see the defense coming up from Last Second. They don't have any G maneuvers built up here to try and hold things down, but neither do Tekka Defense to try and bust through this so far. Hawklight is only 50% towards that Screaming Nimbus, which is what a lot of people are going to try and utilize to try and crack through this.
Well, that's a cool angle Tazim was holding, but gets picked again. Road Protocol. Why is Road Protocol not on Jim Sniper every single map, every single point? I don't know. This is unbelievable. Oh, this is too aggressive. Okay, maybe a little bit too much. Okay.
I don't know if he was expecting maybe his team to jump on over with him, or if they kind of missed it. I don't know how. And that creates the opening. Last Second, they will charge forward. An Ashmar punch just for good measure. But you do have Fusion Blackie, of course. He's going to have that butterfly up in 12% more. They'll be able to chain it with the energy cable of Evictus. So Tekka Dynasty now really on the back foot because they don't have anything to open up that choke point. Hawklight is still kind of struggling here with the way that Last Second are clumping up to allow him to build up the G maneuver.
Asura is going to lead the charge once again. There's just so much damage. There's so much focus coming out of Last Second. They've got really great DPS, and here we go. Here's the butterfly. We'll see if there is any counter to this. It looks like they're just going to back up, or go back up to the spawn, more like. That is going to be, once again, the big Airbnb combo, the combo between that and the cable, the energy cable from a robot. And, I'm sorry, not from a robot, from the other side, from Evictus. And that is just a reset. But the thing is, that reset they were already so far back that they're not losing that much time from it. I know that sounds wild that like a full team wipe is not as impactful, but they didn't get staggered. And look, they're back in within like 20-30 seconds. And there was 2 G maneuvers for that.
Have the tools to try and charge forward. There is the Screaming Nimbus. 3 members caught up on the front line. That's going to allow Robot to follow up. There's a second one to Zim all the way in the back, though. And Rancer's in response. Never mind. He's actually right in the thick of things. And he picks off 2. So that will slow down Tekka Dynasty on this push. And so it's gonna have to be a full regroup around, allowing last second to actually to set up for the defense. Unless their shield ends up getting flanked now with 1 HP. A soar. The pincer attack onto the tanks will take him out. Now Tekka Dynasty can push forward with a tank advantage.
Oh, that was actually a great last shot that we just saw from Hawklight, but this is their big chance here. And even if they get wiped here, they need to play in a way where if they don't give up that choke point. They've got plenty of time, 1 minute 45 seconds. That's like 2 solid pushes. Oh, but Fusion Blackie going down, trading for Hawklight. This is going to be a brawl here, I think, on this point. As soon as somebody gets in, Victus getting a lot of mileage, though.
Yeah, and Tism actually swaps on over to that Hyperion, so double tank for them on this regroup. And Dark Infestor now caught out by himself. You can see how difficult it is to actually chew through that shield, but ultimately he will go down. And so last second are able to force them back to that choke point once again. They will have the Screaming Nimbus along with the funnels, and that's actually a great combo to try and shut down one final push. But on the other side, they have multiple iterations of combos, 4 G maneuvers available. Red Protocol with the punch. They've got the butterfly along with the funnels, and here it is, the butterfly being utilized first, and he's shut down midair.
Wow, the punch I think actually missed, but the focus fire of the team was just so strong. Or maybe it just hit barely and the damage helped on top of it, but that is a complete shutdown of 2 GM maneuvers. That is no longer, these teams are making a statement, it's no longer the free team wipe that it used to be, that we saw in the first several months of the game. I love to see it, but here we go, offense, TKD, they are on the point. They're holding a strong here. They've got their tanks. They've got quite a bit of offensive pressure with that Screaming Nimbus. They're going to at least get 2 ticks, probably at least get 3 ticks, but it's one final push. No, maybe not even. Look how long it's taking them to spawn.
Yeah, and they have the punch to use as well, so Be Their shield will not last long here. They don't even need to utilize that G maneuver to shut him down as they end up trading away. Oh no, the trades are not going in their favor quite yet, but the turret is there for a robot to pick up a few more now in extra time, taking away. Tekka Dynasty just needs to clear off 1 more member of last second, and they will be able to get it in overtime, securing the 2 points. And so now, last second, all they can do is try and draw things out.
You know, when I said that I guarantee that this was not going to be a disappointing match, I was correct. This is going down to overtime on 2 successful pushes between, you know, this map and the last map. These teams are so close in skill. I am completely unbiased here. I really want to see a game 3 between these two. This is such an evenly matched set.
And now as we swap on sides, it's going to be last second attacking here. It was Red Protocol that came up with the huge picks for Tekka Dynasty on that Gem Sniper. We'll see what happens on the other side if Tizim can have a very similar performance.
This is so much on these DOMs. I mean, obviously, aside from just the damage, like the fact that they get to control these choke points and help push through these choke points. I mean, okay, pretty much every map is a DOM map, but this one in particular, I feel it's really, really good for just every single angle that DOM likes to play. We don't get as many high grounds, so it's harder for enemy teams to hold the high ground against the DOM, maybe at this first point, but once you get to B, you're not really going to get that spot where you have to shoot up and direct hit people because you can't splash damage on the ground. And of course, Screaming Nimbus is just one of the most important aspects to the entire push in that B choke point. So the DOMs, they've got to impress, and they have been, for sure. Both Blue Jay and Hawklight have made game-changing plays.
Yeah, and here's the interesting swap-off coming up from last second. And so they're no longer going to play that turn A, which is kind of surprising here. Yeah, and it's such a strong tool, so they'll really be utilizing basically Blue Jay on that DOM. Once they get past that first half of the map, they make it through the choke, and so they're going to play the double tank. They've got Fusion Blackie as well, swapping on over to the Unicorn to provide extra shields for their squad.
Oh, this is him immediately getting body shot. This has been honestly the sniper like kind of just exhibition from Red Protocol. I forgot how good it was in the very first push of this first round, but we'll see how it goes on defense. Oh, not so great, I would say. It's Zim this time on the offense is going to be able to get that first pick, and it's going to be a long run back for Red Protocol.
Yeah, and it's a slow regroup coming out from last second, understanding how long the respawn timer is and how long the run back is as well. So they're not trying to force anything yet. They will have the man advantage for a good 10-15 seconds, and that's plenty of time for a gym sniper to try and pick up get a pick here. You can see as soon as you get bodied, you no longer peek. I love the discipline coming out from Tekka Dynasty here, but they're still just trying to buy as much time as possible. Last second now, closing in on that side. It's going to be a sword getting the first knock.
Ooh, yeah, Be Their Shield going down is going to hurt this push so much. Zim's going to trade it out. Red Protocol is going down again, though. And this is now down to a 4v4, all on point. Both the snipers gone. This is just a brawl. A robot doesn't have too much health of their own, but oh my gosh, there's like almost nobody left here. This is like a 2v2 at this point. Nobody's team wiping. They're just brawling. Okay, the run back here from last second is definitely going to give them an advantage.
Yeah, Tism is still here, though, on that gym sniper. Honestly, just needs one shot onto a robot. You can see he is now passively healing up. I feel like he also utilized the health pack. And here comes the run back. TKD basically back here in full force, but Hawklight has to be careful. He's on point. Tism getting some great shots. Misses that body, though, which would have been absolutely crucial. We'll pop the G maneuver, but it's Mr. Big Large going in and going down with that punch. Does give his life for the effort. They are on point right now with 2 minutes remaining. Nice mid-air shot coming out from Tizim, utilizing that G maneuver, but they're still trading back on the other side from Tekka Dynasty. This isn't the cleanest take as the point is getting contested. Last second, need to clear things out, and there it is. Dark Infestor going down, and with a minute 40 seconds left on the clock, they will be able to take it.
The jump pad with the G maneuver active into the headshot. That was so sick on the counter sniper. That's definitely the play that confirmed them getting that first point. But now here's where it's going to be important. And we do have, of course, Evictus on that Hyperion. Let's see if it comes into play here. It definitely helped a lot, I would say, on the push on the other side from TKD as they're trying to push in. But we do see Nostalgia with the butterfly at the ready. We see the energy cable. It's going to be the combo again. Is there a counter, or is this just a team wipe? I'll tell you which one of those. It is the second. Almost every single person, one person away from being an actual 6 kill. Oh, come on, the flex. Relax.
He had to hit him with it. As you can see, instantly, last second, they try to focus him down, but he was immediately on top of them. Evictus getting repaired up last second with 3 minutes remaining now. Still need to try and break through this choke, but they don't have the tools quite yet. Blue Jay is close. One more decent shot will basically get him that Screaming Nimbus. They can charge forward with Fusion Blackie's G maneuver as well. And so anyone that gets brought low by that Screaming Nimbus is basically going to be one shot to that Gundam Unicorn G maneuver.
I really want to see... Oh, there's a sneak around from Mr. Big Large. I'm not even going to finish that thought. This is going to be combined with this Fusion Blackie G maneuver. That is going to be a lot of potential damage. It looks like it chunked quite a bit of the team. They're backing up, trying to get some health back. But they are going to hold because Be Your Shield once again going down. They've been focusing down the Tsuzabi so well. And I don't even think they've got that many great, I guess you could say, dedicated anti-shield options. They're just focusing. Their focus fire has been incredible.
Yeah, and for last second now, they are absolutely struggling here. I mean, you can see that they try to utilize just the one G maneuver, try to be a little bit disciplined in terms of how they rotate that around, but honestly, they had just waited a little bit longer, 5% more for Blue Jay to have that Screaming Nimbus. There it is, the Screaming Nimbus charging forward. A robot was able to get to the skies to get away from a lot of damage, and now he's in the back line as this Methus. He's still somehow alive, but ultimately last second in this very scrappy push are able to clean up Tekka Dynasty, and now it's all going to come down to Hawklight. Blue Jay should be able to get repaired as they are not on the point quite yet. Finally, they are here, but they're making progress a little bit too late. Tekka Dynasty are coming back with that Screaming Nimbus. Hawklight, did he survive? And he does. It looks like he might have been off map for just a second there, but you can see how well they're able to answer back. And now last second, basically on their last legs here for this map with only 50 seconds remaining. A lot of G maneuvers utilized in that last push, and now Tekka Dynasty have gotten them all the way back to this choke point.
Oh no, Victus knocked right off the map, right into the Dr. Pepper, and that is just not much time left. We're gonna have to see somebody fly over, I think, to try and, I mean, obviously it's gonna have to be Mr. Big Large, and we are gonna see at least that attempt right there. Not gonna try to overcommit and just get picked out of the sky, but oh, great focus on the flyover. Not gonna allow that to happen, and Victus does have the Lancer here. This could be one of the best times to use it. You kind of have to use it right now. Only 19 seconds left. There's plenty of health on board. Honestly, you could almost even use it to just fly. At this point, like, you need to get there. 10 seconds left. Oh no, Mr. Big Large is always one of the only chances. I think this has to be the activation now. 5 seconds left. Who's going to get on point? Zim is going to be the first. And actually, this is huge. Almost a full team wipe. They can take the entire thing right here. Pull this to a draw. Look at this. The temp is still available. This could be. Oh, look at this. This is a sick little spot.
He has been spotted out. Red Protocol has this G maneuver, and they are all now on the high ground. Red Protocol dropping down low. Blue Jay needs some heals, needs some backup for his squad. And here is the butterfly once again. Nostalgia can deal with all of them, and it looks like last second are going to get cleaned up. Tekka Dynasty possibly sending us over to a map 3, but now they end up losing out on 2 somehow. Tism keeps things alive with that Pale Rider, and that will be it. Round 2 is over. Last second secure the point.
Wow, yeah, I totally thought they were losing that, but just not quite. Those G maneuvers just didn't quite have the effect that they needed it to, and so we are going into the overtime round, and both of these teams with the exact same amount of time because both of them won in overtime. That's incredible. I'm telling you, this has to be maybe the closest match in skill between any two teams that we've ever seen on any of these broadcasts. This is super sick, but that means there's very little time, and having very little time for overtime on this map in particular is tough because just by the pure run alone, it takes so long to get to point A. Regardless of whether you win the first fight or you lose the first fight, the run from point A is long, and the run from point A to point B is long as well. So there's just a lot of travel time. There can be no room for mistakes, but starting with that extra 50% G maneuver meter that you get in overtime is going to be key.
Yeah, and luckily for us, or I don't know luckily or not, but if this goes to a decider match, it is a map that cannot be drawn on, so we will have a winner regardless. But you would imagine with how close that this match has been, how both teams have been fairly equal across the board, that if it was any other map, if it was a Mountain R&D, we might even have a decider 4th map at that point. So here we go. With a minute 30 seconds remaining, it does seem like teams are pretty much set on the compositions that they want to run. A robot is on that Methis, as it looks like it's going to be a supportless composition for last second here on the defense.
Oh wait, yeah, Tazim being on the Pale Rider is really cool. We haven't seen Tazim on the Pale Rider since really all of today, so I really want to see again that damage coming out. Pale Rider did of course get nerfed since the first time that we've seen Tazim, or the last time that we've seen Tazim really, but overall the damage can still be ridiculous if your aim is good. And now Red Protocol, see if they can get the picks that they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of the Pale Rider instead, because if you're already at 50% towards that G maneuver, if you get the Hades early on, that's GG. Essentially, that's a 1-for-1 exchange, though. Dark Infestor going down for B, their shield, but they end up getting that repair gun up, and now and we'll have multiple members ready to push. It's going to be 4 members for last second trying to defend here. Zim has gotten spotted out as well, and so that should just be point A for Tekka Dynasty.
This is exactly what they needed, pushing so quickly, and honestly not using any G maneuvers is the most important thing, because they are going to need every single G maneuver that they can get to point B. Of course, look at that. With how quick that was, there's only 15 seconds left. Like, they did not have room for error. But the fact that they got A means that even if this gets to defense, that is kind of a huge advantage for them. But the bigger advantage is the fact they were about to have 6 G maneuvers. Nostalgia is the only one with the turn A that doesn't have it quite yet.
Yeah, Blue Jay doesn't have anything to respond with. We do have the punch, though, for Mr. Big Large. We'll see if he gets value with it. He ends up finding 1 at the very least. Hawklight trying to chase down this turn A. Will be able to find Fusion Blackie, but that's a 1-for-1 exchange. They lose out on Nostalgia. And now last second might have an opportunity. And take a look at the picks coming out, though. Tekka Dynasty, Hawklight pushing all the way towards their spawn right now. Has to be careful. but you can see they're still fighting in the back here. So I feel like you have to finish the fight first, as Tekka Dynasty now kind of scrambling with a minute to go, might have squandered their opportunity.
They've got to combo something here. I mean, they do have the classic combo of the energy cable and the butterfly, but they do not have much time to follow it up. And right now, Nostalgia is pretty low. Nostalgia needs to get healed up. Oh no, going down is just one of the worst things that can happen. I actually love the fact that we're seeing last second split up, so they're not as vulnerable to a push like that. It's going to be hard to actually target all of them underneath you at once, but here we go. This is the last chance. Got to use everything. We've got as well the Lancer, but I don't know if you can really hit that many people with it. They all kind of lined up in a row. This has to be it.
Yeah, now they're charging forward. Here comes out the butterfly, and Nostalgia ends up finding one. There's a second as he's just trying to make his way to the point to keep things alive. 8 seconds remaining, and he finally gets shot down out of the sky. Mr. Big Large picking that one up, and Tazim with the Hades will go ahead and finish things off. Tekka Dynasty end up taking point A, but get almost no progress whatsoever on the second half on point B. So last second now, all they need to do is get there and get 33%.
That counter butterfly call was so good, right? I mean, you have the ability to basically team wipe with that combo of the 2G maneuvers, the butterfly and the energy cable. But if you can't follow it up, then there's not that much that you can do with it, especially when you're down to that last second. The fact that basically the only person who got to the point was the turn A landing from the butterfly meant that if they could just get that single pick, then the counter butterfly would basically stop the entire push, and that's exactly what they did. So really great stuff using the counter G maneuvers there, waiting for the right moments, but getting that first point is huge, right? You could easily get like 2 team wipes, or not even 2 team wipes, just like 2 big staggers here as defense, as Tekka Dynasty, and they could win very, very easily.
Yeah, so now last second, we'll see if Tazim, even though he started off on the Pale Rider on defense, it looks like he's still actually hovering over it, despite kind of some of the issues that last second ran into. You know, Tizim, as he was trying to get the DPS out, unfortunately, you know, there was a lot of pressure being put on to be their shield, and so he needs to play maybe a little bit further back, and that's what you would do basically if you were on that Gym Sniper, playing much further back. But it looks like he will go ahead and stick with that. He does have the opportunity to swap things off. Hawklight, of course, going for the usual setup on that Dom Trooper to see if he can get a cheeky pick onto one member dropping on top of those mines.
That's one of the best places. Actually, we saw a really cool tech last tournament where somebody placed it on the door right above where they're walking out, and all 3 mines explode and it hits everybody on their team. I would love to see that again. Not this time, but let's see how the push goes. Sim, again, is going to be aggressively playing on the Pale Rider. Yeah, no Gym Sniper is really potentially a tough call here, but they just want to death ball in, and that's what's happening. They're pushing on this left side, but immediately Tzim is the first one to get picked.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate for them, as they have to back away from this as well. They're kind of stuck in a corner at this point. Victus does shield on up, but Red Protocol still has angles to play off of. Hawklight finds another pick once again. These Dom Trooper players are absolutely insane. Red Protocol, a nice little finish off onto Fusion Blackie there. They are going to try and get the repair, and Blue Jay does get him up. And so that's a faster regroup basically, but now they're down to one final push. Last second, 40 seconds remaining, but it's going to be the G maneuver on the other side. Red Protocol will be able to call out all their angles.
Oh, that's going to have to mean everything, though. There's really not many. Oh, other G maneuvers available. Red Protocol going down. Tazim's going to get the pick right there. A sword going down as well. This looks like more than enough picks to at least win this fight, and that is going to be nearly a full team wipe, so this might go to a draw. This is almost the exact same amount of time that was left as we saw the other side take point A, but look at this, already being aggressive. The Hades is up, and honestly, Tazim on the Hades, one of the most terrifying things you could possibly imagine. They are going to not have much time, but they are going to have the resources to make this potentially happen.
Yeah, they almost have funnel, they almost have the butterfly as well, and Mr. Big Lars, if he can find a flank for that punch. But on the other side, they've got the butterfly cable as well. Tazim burns down as he tries to back away. We'll see if they can possibly get the repair onto him. No, it looks like he was finished off, and so they'll have to wait things out in that regard. Be their shield. Oh no, unfortunately falling off the map there is going to mean a reset for last second. That means Tekka Dynasty builds up even more G maneuvers for this hold. They've almost got the Lancer, they've got the funnels, 4 online now. They're basically only going to be missing out on that punch.
Oh, but here we go. Double G maneuver. How many people get picked up? Oh, 3. I don't even know. 2 into the ocean. 1 more getting knocked all the way to the other side of the map. And that's the Lancer that we wanted to see. That is the push we needed. And the single tick is all that's necessary. And that's going to be it once again. Last second, in the last second, finally, we see the Lancer that needed to be.
Oh man, made me sound like R2-D2 at the end there when he's going for a ride on that X-Wing. But I mean, it wasn't just me going for a ride, it was Tekka Dynasty. You got finally what you wanted to see today, Evan.
Exactly. I mean, I've said this before that the stream. I was like, all right, I want to see somebody. I want to see a team get lifted into the air with that Lancer. I want to see that happen, and that was exactly what we saw. And the thing was, even if that didn't do enough damage, it could have been redirected into the ocean, and that would have been enough. So that's exactly what I wanted to see. But the impact of that was so good, and honestly, it came down to exactly what you said. It's a tough G maneuver to, or actually maybe it was Lux said, but it's a tough G maneuver to use out in the open, right? It's very easy to get targeted down by everybody who's on the side, but it was behind the Screaming Nimbus. So the Screaming Nimbus came out, everybody was like, hold on, let's get out of the way of this. And then all of a sudden, right behind the Screaming Nimbus, there's just the little dude, Hyperion, just and just picking everybody up. And that was absolutely sick. And that was honestly just such a good set.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how like exactly physics works here, but it was kind of like, bicyclists, right? When they're in a big race and they got their teams, they kind of slipstreaming behind as well to reduce drag. I don't know if you pick up extra speed here in Gundam Evolution by doing that, but you definitely should. And it was an amazing push coming out from him. We were waiting for that combo basically all day long, Screaming Nimbus into Lancer, and we finally got to see it as well here in match number 3.
I'm so happy with that set. I'm actually really sad that that's not going to go to a map number 3 overall, because that set was just so good. And it literally came down to overtime successes, like 4 different times in that set, only on 2 maps. So I really want to see, okay, again, unbiased. I really want to see every team do well here, but I really want to see at some point during the tournament, these 2 teams get a rematch. And I think with the level that they're playing, I think there's a really high chance of that.
Yeah, that's right. Tekka Dynasty aren't out. We still have the lower bracket running. And so there is a large possibility that rematch could happen, whether it's in the grand finals or down there in the lower bracket. It does seem like we're almost fated for one. So I'm glad that we get to run this double elimination style because we get to see some of the best matchups once again.
It's true. And I honestly, too, feel that both of these teams stand a really good chance of being the one to, well, honestly, really just make Matthew bleed. I don't think they've actually lost a game, or maybe they've only lost one single game throughout the entirety of their past 3 tournament runs. And currently they're staying undefeated in this current one as well. But they're going to be going now tomorrow, of course, and against Last Second in the winners finals. So I think Last Second, especially with all those other names, the way that they've been playing today, I think they stand a really, really good chance. This top 3 especially is going to be really competitive, but there's still, of course, like you said, the entire losers bracket. We've got some other great teams down there that I for sure think stand a really good chance of also making it back up to the top 3. And I'll love to see it more competitive every single tournament.
Yeah. And again, after basically it being the Matthew show for the first 2 matches, and they really got to flex their kind of team play. Again, here we got to see it a lot more scrappy. We got to see a lot more individual plays when it came down to it. And I like it because it is, a time for exploration right now with a new unit and a lot of units being nerfed and buffed and such. Like, this is an exciting time for Gundam Evolution competitive.
It is. The comps that we've seen today have been very wide, to say the absolute minimum. It's been, I think, some of the most varied comps that we've seen of any of these tournaments so far. And we're getting through quite a few of them now. Let's see. We had the Belt Showdown into the 2 named ones. So we're on like the 6th or 7th broadcast of basically the Gundam Evolution New Type League type stuff. And I think we've seen most of the suits today. There's only a few that we haven't seen. We haven't seen Mihiru. We haven't seen Marasai, which I'm really excited to see the changed Marasai. And Zakusumele, of course, is still in competitive quarantine. But most of the others, we've even seen Guntank today. I'm going to have to take a look. Hopefully, I think we are ready to go to a break, I believe. Oh, maybe not. Okay, yeah, we are. So we are going to go to a short break. I'm going to count up the number of suits that we haven't seen quite yet. I feel like I'm definitely missing one. But when we come back, we are going to start the losers bracket run, and we're going to see which of those teams makes it all the way back. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Breakout Series event number 3 right after this.